Greetings and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast that had to call in sick to work this week to watch a whole bunch of new game announcements. Yes, as if our backlogs weren't large enough, we now got a couple of hefty announcement videos from both Nintendo and Sony that have us rethinking what our next few months are going to look like. I'm your host, David Lloyd, and yeah, we're going to be going through our backlogs for the end of 2022, and we'll have to see what we're going to be adding in and what we have to take out. And joining me in this reassessment is someone with a countless number of farming sims now she has to find somehow to get them all in this year, and that's Paige Chamberlain.
Well, I think most of them aren't coming out this year, so that's fine. I think only one of them is.
The one saving grace when you get 15 farming game announcements is...
people were so complaining about that so much. I'm like, there's 4. I get the RPG complaint a little bit more because I counted it and it was about 10-ish if you don't count DLC and like you count like say the front missions as one. So it was like about half RPG probably compared to non-RPGs, but
yeah.
And if you count the farming ones as RPGs because most of them were the combination type aside from one, but I think it's a really good direct actually. So.
Yeah. Well, I always say these genre games typically come in waves. Like, I remember we got, you have a strategy RPG game come out, and then there'll be like 4 more that come out around the same time. So it's like movies. When there's one movie about an asteroid destroying Earth, there's going to be a second at the very least. So.
What's very funny is that there were even more Square Enix games that we thought the amount that's coming out just this year is ridiculous.
I don't know how Square Enix is like they somehow like sell off parts of the company and yet still have more games than I can ever remember them releasing at one period of time. Like, it's insane.
I don't know what the sales expectations are because it kind of seems like they're leaving a lot of them to die. So.
Well, and it's funny because we have the direct and I don't even think in the direct they even mentioned the third voice of cards that came out. So like there's games that we knew about, then they announced more, and then they shadow dropped even more.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Square Enix is just a video game making machine these days. I don't.
Yeah, it was. If you could only buy from one publisher.
I don't even think I can afford to buy from
no.
Square Enix alone. Like, I keep joking about them putting me bankrupt, but like it's starting to come true. It's ridiculous. But I guess what we'll do is maybe we'll just go through the direct and kind of point out there. I don't think there's any way in 60 to 90 minute frame we'll be able to talk about all of them. So we'll probably pick and choose the ones that were particularly of interest to you and I. And then there's a couple of games. The Sony State of Play was interesting. It's funny that they both managed to pick the same day. I don't imagine Sony was expecting that, but who knows?
And they wanted to get it out before Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's funny. There's even a couple announcements at Tokyo Game Show that I saw that I'm interested in too. So we're just kind of those are starting to come out right now. Like, we're recording around the same time as the Tokyo Game Show. So I'm sure there'll be more announcements even after recording. So we'll see about that. But yeah, why don't you kick us off, Paige, with some highlights from the Nintendo Direct for you?
What did you think of Fire Emblem Engage? That was the first game revealed.
Yeah, I'm interested. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed Three Houses. That was kind of my first real, like, full blown experience of Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
I've only played the only other Fire Emblem I played before that was Awakening, and I don't remember how much of Awakening I actually got through. Like, I definitely didn't finish it. I think I did maybe 10 or 20 hours or something like that. So, so to have a game that's based on summoning characters from games that I have no idea. I don't know. Like, maybe it's a good way to get into it too. Like, for someone who doesn't know those characters, maybe it's a perfect game for someone like me. I don't know.
Well, I think it was supposed to be an anniversary title, but got pushed back a fair bit. There was actually leaks the other month, but they were quite old stuff. So a lot of people thought, oh well, that's not coming soon because it's like really like pretty early early build looking. But it was just that the leaks, the actual pictures someone got a hold of were from like a while ago.
Yeah.
But it was funny because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it can't be Fire Emblem because of how the main character looks," and then it was like, when it's true, I'm like, haha. um, which I don't care for the main character design too much. We did find out that the designer behind it does a lot of VTuber designs, and I like their other work. Like it's very bright and colorful. I just don't care for the toothpaste hair. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this game, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it much because they're bringing back the weapon triangle, which I hate, and
Yeah.
um, it's funny having the hero summons because there's sort of like little ghost things next to you. So I was like, oh, it's kind of like Tokyo Mirage Sessions number 2.
Right. Yeah. I saw that. I saw somebody making fun of that on Twitter about it being like a sequel or something to Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Mm.
But
But it's coming out January. They'll probably be my. Oh wait, no, there's another game that got announced for January, not in the direct or anything. But there we go. That's my 2 January games sorted already.
well, and it's funny too because when they said winter, in my brain, I was thinking like the end of the year. Like I thought they were kind of reassessing the last few months of the year, and then yeah, I saw like them talking about games in January and February, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's winter's basically anywhere between like now and April. So
Yeah, I thought it was funny and to be like, oh, but Nintendo's got so much they haven't like covered my they don't really release December games much. It's like September's covered, October's covered, November's covered. So that's why I was originally thinking there wasn't really going to be much in the direct, but I was wrong. They were just like after that next year
yeah,
mostly.
yeah. Well, especially 40 minutes. I was thinking they were going to have like really long looks at stuff. Like I thought there'd be like maybe 15 minutes of Bayonetta or something. And
Hey, we did get 2-minute lecture about Pikmin Bloom, so
yeah.
that was definitely the longest part of the direct for me.
Oh, I can't
Um,
like on a mobile game. Like it's ridiculous. Oh, and I thought there'd be like 15 minutes of the Nintendo movie or something too. Like
yeah, I was glad we didn't have to see any of that.
yeah. Well, it makes you wonder if they had to go back to the drawing board on that one. But yeah, luckily we weren't harassed with having to pre-order tickets for that or anything.
um, then they went into we're not talking about every game because some of it's not that of interest to us. We're just mostly the RPGs. Xenoblade 3 DLC. So we're getting a new hero, which looks kind of like a chicken lady because she's a robot with a person head, normal person looking head, but the rest is skinnier.
Yep.
And some challenge stages, like fights. So you have to do the challenge fights to get your swimsuits, which is very rude, I think. You gotta pay
Yeah.
and earn
Yeah.
it. Like,
I thought they would just charge the big bucks for that and that's it. But
I
nope,
do
you
think,
have to do some
yeah,
work.
because the first lots of DLC is just like little heroes, things like that, and it's sort of like the challenge levels people probably play, but for the people that have already finished it, it's sort of like, well, they're not going to go back and play through a whole bunch of games just to get to another hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems a bit weird of timing to like have heroes as the thing you're going to drop since you come across them as you play the game. I mean,
Yeah, it
I haven't
is.
finished it yet, so
No, I've
if
kind
I
of
take
fallen
long
off it
enough, I'll
myself.
find it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But then
guess
I
it depends
haven't bought the
where
DLC.
the hero depends where the hero gets placed too.
Yeah.
Like I guess you can always go back to old places, but at the same time, it's depending on where you are, you might just kind of be focused on moving ahead as opposed to going back to like older areas. I don't know.
Mm. And yeah, there's the final bit of DLC will be actual story stuff, and I think that they said that's like end of next year. Last I
Man,
remember.
that's such a long time.
Well, that'll be the actual where the money's worth.
Yeah, at the end of next year.
I
Oh
think that
man.
was, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. Yeah, but it just seems
Well,
crazy
yeah,
to be so far away.
if it's like Torna, then makes
Yeah, I
sense.
guess. Yeah, that would. I suppose if it's like a experience kind of on its own, that it would make sense. Yeah, but it's
Um,
just like it just falls. Like games fall out of people's minds like a few weeks after like
there's a
stuff
lot
comes
of
out. To
games
think,
where I buy the season pass or I have the DLC when it comes out, and the DLC comes out, and I'm like, I'm busy. Like last Fire
yeah,
Emblem game, haven't played the DLC. Uh, Ni no Kuni 2, you didn't play the DLC by the time it comes out,
Yeah.
But I think if it's a big story thing, it'll probably get people's attention again to come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's possible.
And for me, I think one of the biggest surprises was a third fitness boxing game, which is Fitness Boxing Fist of the North Star. And that comes out in March. So I told my husband that's what he's getting for his birthday.
Oh, yeah.
I've played the first fitness boxing game. I need to stretch my legs before I can play it properly again, because you might not think it, but the boxing uses your legs a lot too. So
Yeah. I just started doing jump rope with my
oh,
son. We're doing some fitness stuff, and it's been years since I've done
did your
jump rope.
knees fall off?
I can't believe how much, like, I went in for like a minute, and then all, like, I couldn't breathe. I could, like, man, it's so deceptively like, it just sucks the wind right
Well,
out of you, and it uses every part of your body. My
haven't you been
legs were hurting,
playing
my
like
arms were hurting. It's crazy.
the free jump rope game on the Switch, which they
Yeah.
said was going to be a limited time, and they were like, "Oh, never mind, you keep it." Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that looks it's like not what you'd expect at all, but it also makes sense to make a boxing game out of Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious. I didn't I don't know if
yep.
I saw the whole part of the whole announcement, but it'll be interesting if they use or have a way to use the leg strap from
I don't think fitness boxing's ever used the leg strap. It's just the Joy-Cons.
I guess they're just gonna take your word for it that you're doing the jump rope action with the Joy-Cons in your hand, I guess.
The jump rope, that's a different game.
Well, I just mean if they put that, like, the bouncing, like, if they want you
Oh yeah.
to, yeah.
Well, it probably doesn't come across properly if you don't if you're not doing
Yeah.
it. It's not quite like Just Dance where you can kind of fake it a bit. But
So you can't say I can't sit on my couch and just wave the Joy-Cons around. You think it'll be more advanced than that?
mm. Well, you've got to do your different motions of punching. So
Yeah, yeah. I
I
think it'll
I
be
think
pretty
it'll
good.
be more engaging than like the first two fitness boxings were like instrumental versions of pop songs.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of, whereas like this will be like you're beating up somebody, you're fighting them. You're not just doing rhythm boxing. You're like, yeah, have little boss fights and stuff.
Yeah, have to employ some strategy.
Mm. The strategy of following the instructions on screen.
True.
um, yeah, so that was like one of the more interesting ones. Then yeah, Front Mission 1 is coming November 2 next
Uh,
year, and then
is it November? I was just on the website and it said October.
well, the director I watched said November.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Maybe it got pushed back because I know that was one of the things that I was going to add to my backlog. Now
you're
that we
gonna
got
play with the
I'm gonna have to
Fwanzas,
move
or
it.
how you pronounce that. And two's coming, I think, next year. And then they announced that
Yeah.
they're also working on 3.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Front Mission 1 came outside of Japan, because when they said 2, they were saying, oh, the sequel that never came outside. I'm assuming some of the later games must have come out. I think we mentioned when it was first revealed that like the first front mission had like the Final Fantasy artist did the cover for the Super Nintendo cover, and it looks really cool.
Oh, Hamano.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested in that. And then they've got like it's a main tactics game, but there's also like little Colosseum thing as well to practice
Mm-hmm.
in.
Yeah, it's funny. Square Enix, like, there's so many remakes are coming out. Like, we got the Front Mission coming out. Yeah, if it's November, then it's coming out at the same time as Tactics Ogre. So it's a funny timing for these remakes, especially with a certain remake not being mentioned at all, which
Which
to
one
the
was it?
chagrin of
Oh yeah.
Jordan. So his last hurrah, I guess, was the Tokyo Game game show, and so far, I'm going to be up that 6 pack of beer. So far so good.
Yeah, well, that's I think I teased a bit when I said that Jordan was going to be happy about something from the direct, and then that's not what I
You got
meant.
me worried. I saw that and I'm like, no, I can't
Um,
lose this. It's been so long. I think it's been like 2 years of me gloating to Jordan about this happening, and it's finally coming to fruition.
and yeah, then my number one thing from the direct, which I got, some I don't know if it's just I'm extra emotional, but got some tears in my eyes. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life remake, which is a remake of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, plus Another Wonderful Life, because that used to be back when they would go, here's a boy version. Oh, now we're going to make a version where you can play as a girl, but that version didn't come to the PAL region, so I couldn't. I am kind of on the art style because it's like very comparatively, like you can see the screenshots. Obviously, technically, it looks better because it's quite, I think, dark, and aside from the character design's pretty, well, semi-realistic. Um, but it's a lot more pastel in the remake, like very bright. They kept the cows kind of the same shape, but then the sheep are the big pink fluffy ones, and it's like, well, why are these different? Why are these like the other games then? And names are different, as they did with like the Mineral Town remake, because they're using their own translation and not Natsume's. So, um, and some characters look completely different. Like there's one where some people were like, I didn't even realize it was the same character. I'm like, well, the only thing that looks the same about him is his eyes, because they've changed his hair completely, his face shape. He's like, and that he's standing in the same spot as where he normally is in the game. And I
That
think
makes
they,
you wonder what, like, did they lose the asset or something and had to
no. I think it's because the game was just originally designed as the boy version, and then when they did like the female version, they were sort of like, oh, we didn't really make many attractive male characters.
Oh, okay.
There's another game set in the same setting, but it's like quote 100 years later, but you've got characters that are the same. It's like, so
Yeah,
it's their descendants with the same name and appearance.
nice.
And they added, like in the girl version of that, they added like a new bachelor who's like very fancy looking, and you could marry some of the Mineral Town boys without ending your game because yeah, they're most of the male characters, even the ones that weren't marriageable, were all like middle aged, kind of gruff looking. It seems that one of them's been added as a bachelor, but they've also given him a redesign. So he's
Hmm.
a bit more jock looking than he like his big muscly punk look.
I'm assuming there's a male version of the waifu. I don't know what the technical term would be.
Wait, the bachelors is what I was
Is that
saying.
all? It's just the bachelors.
Well, no,
There's no
when you
funny
talk
name
about
like
these games,
waifu.
you say you've got bachelor and bachelorette, like these your marriage options.
Ah, okay.
This game will also have the same sex marriage option, which is good because they made my husband of choice look completely different, and I don't know if I don't know how much they're going to change his personality too, because he was kind of like clearly in love with a different character, and and in this game, it'll be interesting. I want to see. Don't want to spoil it too much because I want to see people's reactions. But like in the original, you had to get married by the end of the first year because it's all about. It's the only game where you like grow up and grow old and stuff. Like that happens over time.
Hmm.
So like you get married and have a kid, like a time skips to when your kid's a toddler. But if you don't propose to someone before the end of the year, whoever you're closest to will propose to you. And when this guy proposes to you, he's just like, I even more than this other chick. So he's like saying, I love you more than this other. Like that's the way he proposes in the original. Uh, so I think they might change that. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely want to see people's reactions to things like that because in the original, yeah, you had to get married. You could get divorced, but the game would end. So yeah, it'd be funny to see people's reactions to that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, even if I don't like some of the other bachelors, I like at least one of the girls. So. And that'll be funny because her whole character was like complaining about getting dumped by men all the time, and I'll be like,
Oh,
there is another option.
yeah. Well, and this one is actually this is summer though, right? Like it's summer
Yeah,
next year, so it's a
middle of
yeah,
a while away.
little outside the winter
I
time
think
frame they had given us.
Japan's getting it sooner, like January or something. So I saw
Oh, okay.
someone ordered it. Like, I'm not waiting, and I'm like, I am. Unfortunately, I don't know Japanese, so I can be a top farming sim YouTuber and translate and play through everything. Yeah, that's the highlight of my direct. The first farming game reveal out of the two.
So that's the one that got you out of your seat.
Well, no, I still sat on the seat. I was comfortable on the couch. But
Oh.
then they showed off the next Splatfest themes. That's next weekend, or I don't know when you're publishing this, but yeah. So that's good to know, although I haven't been playing the game much because the connection issues are very immense.
How is it comparable to Splatoon 2? I guess it's a different time because like when when Splatoon 2 came out, it was at the beginning of the life of the
Hmm.
Switch. So I
Uh,
don't think there was the 100 million Switches out there
yeah,
that it is now.
I feel like there's more connection issues with this game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm starting Salmon Run and someone's disconnected before they've even loaded into the helicopter to start the match. So we start with 3 people. Um, I haven't been playing it much because of that.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's gone into some maintenance. I don't know if that's going to fix if that's the bugs or the online issues, because people found some funny bugs too.
I'm curious what like because like where you are in Australia and I know that a lot of it's pretty big in Japan the game. I'm curious if because there's so many people in Japan playing, like if you'd be on the same server, if it's any
Um,
different in North
Mostly
America.
find Japanese players normally, but the region for Splatfest we are tied in with America.
Oh, okay.
So when it's Splatfest, we play with Americans
Yeah, it'd be
because
interesting if you
whenever it
have better
comes to any online,
connections.
I don't know. It depends on what side of Australia you're on. Because like my side, I'd be closer to Japan than America. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we have probably what made Jordan the most happy. Um,
Yeah.
as I say, Octopath Traveler Boo.
I just laughed out loud when I saw it. Like I don't know if I have an opinion one way or another on
Yeah.
it. But I just when I saw it, I just laughed because I was like, man, this has been like years of us making fun of this game, and I knew it was coming. Like there's
Yeah.
it was so successful that it's like the first time around this like they will have a sequel. Like they're not leaving the money off the
Well,
table.
I think they've emphasized that the characters will interact or something. So,
It'll be nice if they look at each other
yeah.
and talk, talk in each general direction at the very least.
Yeah.
And unlike the first time, this one's not a Nintendo exclusive. This is going to be on all like it'll not Xbox because Square Enix doesn't exactly make Xbox games, but it'll be on Switch, PlayStation, and Steam all at the same time.
Yeah,
So.
some people were saying it was confusing because it wasn't on the first one wasn't on PlayStation but was on Xbox, and that's the other way around.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. I know Nintendo had that like year of exclusivity, and I knew it came to Steam, but I don't even remember
Nintendo didn't
if
want
it
to
even
pay
came.
this time for the exclusivity.
No, I guess not.
Well, they didn't need Nintendo's money this time because of this money from the first game.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It was successful enough that I think, and it makes me wonder. Like the Steam version of Octopath must have been successful enough for Square not to bother with it, like, and have that kind of day one availability for that. So I'm assuming it must have did pretty well on PC. So
Yeah, but I know I won't be trusting Jordan's review. That's all.
yeah, no,
I
no,
might need.
I will. I'll need a second and third opinion before I pick that up.
And then
Impartial opinion.
I won't talk about too much because it's one of the farming games that were announced. I'm the least interested in it, just because there's so many indie ones nowadays. Fae Farm, it looked pretty good, except all the faces were like completely flat. I don't like that look, but the rest of the appearance was fine. Because I find a lot of those 3D farming games, especially the indie ones, look pretty ugly.
Yeah,
And that one's like multiplayer from the get go, so that's cool. And it's like, yeah, the mix between the farming and the combat and stuff. So I'll keep my eye on it and see how it
yeah.
reviews, basically.
I enjoyed your quip when I laughed about all the farming games, and you had said that these indie devs were looking to suck some of that Stardew Valley money.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that basically it was like that was aside from I think maybe one other series which hasn't had any like reports or anything. And it's very expensive to get a hold of. The main thing was the Bakuja Monogatari series, which is like Harvest Moon now became Star Seasons. And then someone wasn't too into some of the newer games from that series that come out, so it's like I'm going to make my own game based on it.
yeah.
And then that sold amazingly. So all these other people are like, oh, I'm going to make a farming game
Well,
of
that
varying qualities.
there's still that. Can't remember when it's coming out, but Stardew Valley has the follow up, like the Chocolate Factory or whatever it is. Like,
Haunted Chocolatier.
yeah, I can't remember when that one's coming out.
When it comes out, that's I always
Yeah,
love
I
when
know.
you're on Steam and it's like they have some really funny thing like as long as a piece of string or something for the release
Yeah.
date. Yeah,
Well, I
that's
guess even if they had a date, it's possible that it gets pushed back anyway. But
yeah. So if you don't have a date, you can't you
yeah,
can't be
it'll be
delayed.
what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're getting a new theater rhythm game, possibly the final one because it's called Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. You ever played those ones?
I owned the 3DS one,
You own
played it a
it
little bit,
for a
but
bit.
rhythm games. Not since the days of Guitar Hero and Rock Band have I dipped into too many rhythm games like that.
Hmm.
I think I wore myself out of them back in my 20s, and now I've
Now you've lost
uh,
your groove.
yeah,
You're
it's
not hip
it's
with it
like when
anymore.
yeah, it's when you have too much of a good thing and it just tastes bad the rest of your life. That's the feeling I get with rhythm games now.
So yeah, it is all Final Fantasy games, and then you have to pay for non-Final Fantasy games, which I was like, because they're like, and there's DLC for Nia and Saga and Live
That sounds
Alive,
about
so I have to
that
pay
sounds
for
about
Regular
right though.
Mania and
Yeah.
Octopath, and they didn't say anything about Dragon Quest, which is very annoying because there was a Dragon Quest Theatre Rhythm game in Japan, and now that the primary composer, who was a big copyright drama, they were very like they were part of a group about like protecting their copyrights. He was very strict about what came outside of Japan of his music. He died this year, maybe last year. So I was like, oh, good, we can get some Dragon Quest music. No,
Yeah.
nothing about
Yeah.
Dragon Quest. Like they just said and more. So I was like, maybe
Yeah.
that's coming out in February, and I think I've already got 2 games set for February, so I don't think I'm gonna. Especially since I have to pay for what I want.
Have to wait for that sale.
Yeah. Yeah, Square Enix does little sales here and there.
I was actually just on Steam today because there's a There's a Square Enix Tokyo Game Show sale. Um, so I might stock up on a few of the games there now that I own on other consoles, but I want to get on Steam Deck. So yeah, their Square Enix they have their sales quite often.
Yeah, they're not. It's kind of like there was not mentioning here, but like there was like one game they brought up the Mario Rabbids, and I was like, that game can wait because I know Ubisoft games go on sale all the time.
They go on sale 2 to 3 weeks after release.
Yeah, which is funny because they've announced that they're going to start doing the $70 games too. It's like
Yeah,
for what launch price, and then we drop it down.
yeah,
Um, and then for farming game number 3, Rune Factory 3 special. So so it was a DS game, and I'm never played that one. And it's like at least Australian price. It's selling for like $200 on eBay, so it saves me some money. I'm doing it
yeah,
this way. um, I don't know much about that one. It looks like you could transform into a monster or something for parts of it. So I guess that's an interesting mechanic. But yeah, probably I never actually finished Rune Factory. I did get like 3/4 through 4, so I think I'll beat 4 and then either play 5 or 3 next.
yeah.
And then they just said that another game's coming, so I guess Rune Factory 5 sold well enough because it was like Switch and then PC.
Yeah, I remember I
I'm gonna
was
double check.
planning on playing when it came out, but then just I guess
You
got
saw the frame
distracted
rate?
by something else, and yeah, so never did get around to it. But
Oh, that was actually one thing I was going to say about the Story Seasons remake. There was a PS2 version of that game, and the frame rate was so much worse, especially at night time when the streetlights came on. And looking at the trailer, it looks like we might be going for the PS2 frame rate for this
oh,
room. You could just see from it. So it's a bit sad, but hey, I've played it with that bad frame rate before, so it'll be okay for me.
yeah.
And at least it's not like Pioneers of Olive Town where your bad frame rate was because you had to make 600 makers and put them on the ground. Um, yeah, then we have more Nintendo 64 games coming to the expansion pack. So we've got some classics like Pilot Wing 64, 1080 Snowboarding, Excite Bike 64, none of which I ever had. Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, which I've played Mario Party 2 a lot. I have not played 3, obviously not 1, but I think 2 is just, like, you know, the 2 is definitely this is a better version of 1, basically. Like almost all the same games and stuff. Um, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, which we talked about in our Pokemon spin offs
hmm
episode. Unfortunately, there's a little note saying that you can't transfer Pokemon, so there's no Pokemon home compatibility.
Oh man,
And I don't think you'll be able to like play Pokemon Blue or Gold with it
yeah,
either.
that's gonna make that a much different game if you
Mm,
can't bring your own Pokemon in. Because I remember
well, it's kind of how
playing
I
before, and
played it
it's
because I didn't know about the features.
oh really?
I played the mini games and I played with the bank team, whatever you call them, rental teams.
I guess they
Yeah.
got the Game Boy player. I guess won't do anything either.
Mm. Um, and then the big reveal from that section is GoldenEye, which is also coming to Xbox Game Pass, but being able to play GoldenEye online is exclusive to Nintendo, which is
It's
very
funny. It makes you think there must be some kind of copyright thing that like Nintendo and Rare each have like some kind of
yeah.
claim, and it only works if they both agree or something to that effect. And
um,
yeah, this seems like they it was kind of a tit for tat, I guess, where it's like,
yeah.
well, I'll do this and you can do that, and then we'll
Yeah.
go our separate way.
I hadn't heard it, but like my husband was saying, oh, some people thought like were annoyed because they thought there was some Metroid thing, and I'm like, how? And then I go back to it, and it's like, oh, there was a Metroid user profile pic in the thing, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's no Nintendo 64 Metroid games, and it
No,
was
no,
clearly in that still water, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like, gee, I was like, what were they gonna? They're gonna be like, oh, here's a hidden game that never existed before, or something.
yeah.
Like what? Um,
Have
yeah,
you
God,
played a multiplayer Nintendo 64 game? Like, what's the
yes.
connection like for that? Like, is it
Oh, online.
yeah?
I don't think it's great. Yeah,
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, the online exclusivity doesn't mean anything if
yeah,
the connection
that's
sucks
pretty
as bad
much
as it does.
my joke. Too. I think it's not great. It kind of depends, and if you play with your friends, people that are a bit closer to you might be okay. I really want to see. I want to. Technically, I am apparently Gen Z somehow, but like I want. So I was like, I guess it's my generation, but I want to see the youngins that grew up with the Wii play this game.
Oh man,
It's
well,
like here's your
yeah.
single stick shooter. Here's your someone picked the short guy.
Like as someone who's like my teenage years were the Nintendo 64 era, and even I can't go back to these games. Like they're so
Well, my
old.
problem was like you can't really see what you're trying to shoot at.
Yeah, they're I don't know. Like what's funny is that I think the most fun like now I think the most fun would be in the multiplayer, like in the arena battle in GoldenEye. Like that was definitely the
Yes.
most fun. Uh if the online doesn't work, like if there's slowdown and lag and disconnects, like uh, it's going to ruin the experience. But even now, like there's so many modern games that do that sort of battles so much better that I don't know, like it's very much dependent on nostalgia, I think. And I
But
don't know. I'm sure
I
there's gonna
want
be
to see
lots of people that
I want to
like
see
it,
the
but
people that don't have nostalgia play it.
oh, they're gonna hit. I can't. I don't get anyone who can go back. Like it's funny because with I PlayStation One games still have that kind of mystique. For that are it's usually with RPGs and stuff, but like trying to do 3D polygons on a cartridge back in the 90s just it didn't work. Like it, the games were fine then, like because we didn't know any better. It was the beginning of the 3D era, but man, going back to those games is rough, especially on big TVs, like big
Yeah, that's
HD
part of the problem. You
TVs. Like
can't
it's
see.
just it's torture. Like you did. Oh man, like I can't do
There's
it.
like some way, like you can kind of see, and it's just like, say, like there's a racing game. It's just like, the draw distance is really
Yeah.
not good. So like we nearly run into stuff quite quickly. But then there's others where I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't tell what's happening.
No, the only
Like
way I can
there
play
was
them
one
now
old
is
one I didn't buy because I looked at footage on YouTube and I'm like, I can't
oh yeah.
make it out. Oh.
No, it's tough. Like I have an old CRT TV that's it's only like 20 something inches or something, and like that's the only way I can play these Nintendo 64 games now is kind of like the original way that they were intended, because it's just I don't know. I've just never the experience has never been recreated for me on a modern platform.
No, I've never played the Golden Wii remake, so maybe I need to. And then yeah, we had I think pretty much our only shadow drop was Various Day Life, which was a game that's been freed from Apple Arcade jail.
Yeah, I saw the mobile look, and I immediately went into a coma until the next
Fair enough.
trailer came up.
Well,
So I don't know much about this one other than
um,
I know it's made by the same folks that make Octopath and
yeah,
um,
I'm
Bravely
something like
Default.
that. I need reviews for, especially it sits at like that $45 Australian mark. It's like, I don't
I don't
know.
think the reviews are great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's up to party. but um, but yeah, I think that might have been our only kind of surprise drop. Um,
Yeah, it's the only one that comes to mind anyway.
like I think there's some that might have been like this week or something, but like yeah. And then we got a final official reveal confirmation of Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End, and the Secret Key, and you could clearly tell that it was Nintendo Switch footage by how it looked. Because I played Sophie 2 on PC, I played both the Atelier Ryzers on PlayStation. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't look as pretty as like, oh, because it's actually running on the Switch. That's why.
So I guess you're confirming that you will not be picking up Ryza 3 on the Switch
Oh
version,
no,
I
I
suppose.
won't get my cute costume bonuses for my save data if I don't get it on PlayStation.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's very important that you get that. That to the extent that like my my copy like of Horizon 1 was like PS4, but I was playing the PS5. But like in order to get the save data, I had to like import my cloud save to my PS4, pop it in, and then transfer back, and then I could get the save bonus. So I ended up unlocking a trophy on the PS4 version.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's like something you can't get from the start, right?
That's funny.
So I've got like just the list of like the PS4 trophy is just one trophy, and then the PS5 is like the rest I have from doing that. Yeah, I really liked the Atelier Ryza games, so I'm happy about this. This one's a February. That's one of my two February pickups. Um, it said 11 party members, and my brain, because I played Sophie 2 last, I got kind of confused with that, and I was like, okay, so there'll definitely be new party members, because even in the second game, most of the party was, I think there was only two new people, three. Yeah, so I think there's definitely, because you've got Ryza, her three buddies, possibly the two people from there, yeah. Depending. It's depending if we're gonna have maybe there's only one or two extra new characters, depending. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I like the Atelier games, especially like the Ryza ones are really good. and mounts are back because like when I was playing Sophie 2, I'm just like because Ryza 2 had like this little mount thing that you could use to go across the areas faster. And it appears you've got that to some extent because I saw like a dolphin and something else in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, that's like one thing I missed when I was playing the Sophie 2. It was like there's no mounts and there's no swimming, and that was stuff that added to the game before. So I'll definitely play that one.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on that one. I enjoyed Ryza 2, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I might have to wait to see what you have to say about that one. I'll wait for your review.
You're gonna spend your money on all the theater rhythm DLC instead, is what you...
Oh man, I'll just listen to it on at Spotify or something like that. I don't need to press the buttons at the same time.
Listen to ones. Oh, the music. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like I said, we had the 2-minute lecture from Miyamoto about Pikmin Bloom, which is something I don't play because it is literally a fancy pedometer and it runs very poorly.
Yeah. I don't care what you say, Miyamoto. I'm not downloading it.
It's so laggy. I hate it. Well, I haven't tried it on my new phone. But Pikmin 4 is for real. They didn't show very much of it at all, but it's coming next year.
Now the question is was it always real, or was the game just made in the last couple of years out of spite? It's purely out of spite that they made this game.
Who knows? But I love the so the person that did that Pikmin 4 article from like 7 years ago has now done a new article stating like Pikmin 4 is coming out next year.
Vindicated.
Yeah.
Vindicated.
So yeah, they didn't show very much at all, other than you can play from a lower perspective.
Yeah.
And then when they're showing the footage, I'm like, well, I wasn't sure if that's how the game's actually going to look or not. I thought it might be, especially because they've done this animated shorts. I'm like, okay, we're getting a Pikmin animation or something.
Yeah. Again. Well, you think if they've been working on the game for this long, they'd have more to show at this point, but.
Well, I think they're just waiting until they're a bit more firm on the release date, maybe.
Yeah. I'm still sticking to my guns about it. I don't think the game has ever existed, and Miyamoto just got so sick and tired of the memes that it's completely out of spite.
We've seen more of Pikmin 4 than we've seen of Metroid Prime 4.
Well, that's true. Yeah. There's no visual evidence that Metroid 4 is being worked on in any capacity.
Yeah. Whereas Pikmin 4 has one screenshot and some video.
All we know is that Nintendo paid somebody from Fiverr to come up with a logo and zoom in and out on it. That's about it.
No, the most important thing about that logo reveal is I immediately went on eBay and bought the trilogy on the Wii before it became $500. So if you're a game collector and if you ever feel bad because you're like, oh, I should have bought this when it was cheap, look up how much something you already own is worth, and then you won't feel so bad. Yeah. You might find out that you're like, oh, good thing I got that. And the final farming game is Harvestella, which is one we already knew about, which is basically Square Enix's ripoff of Rune Factory. So that's coming early November, and the demo came out. So I actually played the demo like the day of. I think I don't know, my plans for today got messed up, but I was planning on doing like an impressions video of that. And they still haven't confirmed if there's any like dating in this game, which they're very being tight-lipped about. Because personally, I prefer to have my trophy wife or something. Yeah. Like it is one of the ones that has a story, so there'll be at least like there's that sense of progress at least. But yeah, I do also like to have
choice,
something else to work towards.
Yeah,
especially playing the demo, I'm like, I want that doctor. She's mine. But having played the demo, I think I will get the game now, even if it doesn't have the romance. Meanwhile, I'm not a farming game that is coming out this year that wasn't mentioned in this direct, but was on the last one, like the Doraemon 2 one. I don't think I'll get that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a Stella.
Hey,
sorry.
We can't buy and play them all. So
no, not at this rate.
Not when Square Enix has decided that they're going to release 15 games a month. There's only so many.
Well, that's what you can only grow so many crops in one area, and then you've got to cycle through different kinds, and certain ones hate each other, so you can't plant them
Yeah.
next to each other. It's very
No, that's the thing. Yeah, some things have to
complicated
die
science.
so that others can thrive.
Yeah. And then one I thought you might be interested in was Rain Code from like the Danganronpa people, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can really
I'm
tell
excited.
not just the art, not just the
Yeah.
art style, obviously, but like even though you're not trapped in a school or whatever this time, you are still investigating and you are doing these accusations, and it's all like the text coming out, and like it's still very much like the Danganronpa games.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely motivation for me to actually play through the Danganronpa games. Like I own them. I own all three, but I haven't played them yet. I actually started the first one. Oh man, I don't even remember when that was now. It's got to be like months or years ago, but I had them all queued up, and I will get to them. This is my motivation for sure. Because yeah, the raincoat looked very good. It's kind of up my alley. So
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that I didn't have a strict date, or even I'm not sure if I had a window or not either.
um, I remember there an email came out, and it's 2023 for sure.
Mm.
I don't know if they. I don't think they really narrowed it down. I think they just kind of said like mid to late or something like that.
They showed a bit of Crisis Core. I know my husband's interested in that, so I think we'll get it on PlayStation instead, though.
Yes, I think that's the safe route to go.
Mm.
I'm still hesitant on whether that Switch version will play properly or if it'll be like it's definitely going to be a visual downgrade, I would imagine. We'll see if it ends up surprise cloud announcement where it's like cloud version of this game. Actually, we didn't say anything till now, but yeah, this is going to be the cloud version.
Sorry for all your retail pre-orders.
Yeah, that's
Here's
right.
your
Yeah,
code.
you'll get your box with your code inside. Yep. Don't worry. Don't
Um,
worry.
and a series I'm not particularly interested in, Tales of Symphonia Remastered, which I'm already hearing complaints about because it's the PS2 version, and there was a GameCube version that was better, supposedly. And all systems are going to be playing this at 30 frames. So
Yeah, it's I've never seen so much controversy over a game I have so little interest
that's me with all the Trails drama from the other
in. Yeah.
week.
Yeah, well, that's funny because I'm in that community of or in that fandom or whatever,
Yeah,
and even I couldn't. I'm like I don't care. It's like well, I don't care about all this locals. Just give me an English speaking game for freak's sakes.
yeah.
I don't need all the drama leading up to it.
Hmm. Yeah, but apparently, yeah, people aren't happy because they've confirmed that all versions are going to run a 30. So it's just like it's just
Well, and I
not much
think
of a remaster. I think because the issue,
the only thing like so
and it
I've
doesn't have
I
extra content like either.
yeah I owned the game once. Like I bought it for GameCube, thinking I would play it. Never did. I ended up selling it because I got a really good resale price. Because at the time, I think it was kind of rare or something. And the only thing I remember about it was that it was like, it was one of those. It was in the era of, our RPG is like 150 hours, so it must be good. Um, and I remember that being like one of the big selling points was like the length of the game. It was actually on 2 GameCube discs at the time,
No,
so it's like, yeah, I don't have too much or any real motivation to play this one. Tales of Arise
the GameCube
is
version
like,
isn't too pricey. It's nearly 100 or so, but that's not the
yeah.
worst for a GameCube game nowadays.
I'm sure the Tales people are going to have their pitchforks and torches ready for me when I say that Tales of Arise is the only Tales worth playing.
And there's like a PS3 version that I can get for cheaper than that. That seems to have more stuff in it than this port probably will.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again,
and
good for
it's
the
on
people who
Steam.
enjoy it.
It's
That's
already on
fine.
Steam for $20.
Yeah, no, that's if they want it, they got it. It's
Yeah,
no
so
interest for this guy.
Bandai not making the brightest decisions. And then I guess the final Square Enix game was Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered. I've already got a bunch of Saga games I haven't played, so I don't think I'm picking this one up. straight away. But sometimes they
Yeah.
go on sale, and I'll go, all right, I'll buy it now while it's on sale.
It's funny you say that because I'm kind of in the same boat of like, oh man, I played a lot of Saga lately, and
I've got like
my
two of the mainline games and that PS1 one that never came out in my region. Because
did you get Scarlet Grace?
no,
Oh, it's funny because I feel like Scarlet Grace is the best Saga.
okay,
um, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I would probably say go with that one before going with a different one. But even the other ones are enough. Like it's again, it's one of those series where it's like, yeah, if you're really into it, I'm glad. Like Square Enix seems to be all in on Saga these days. Like everything Saga is somebody there has a lot of pull, has a lot of weight, gets to do whatever they want apparently because
yeah,
every Saga game ever made is getting a remaster and they're making new ones. Like it's just crazy. But
um, yeah,
Kawazu
it's.
knows where the bodies are buried apparently.
Hey, I'm trying to see. I now clicked on the wiki for the series and I can't see Minstrel Song in the list, so I'm like, what? Was it called something else?
Yeah, who knows?
Um, but there is a lot of a lot of, like some of those games just like didn't come to the Power region. Like they did a Mana game, they did a Saga game, like PS1 games, and I was like, okay, this is the first time someone in our region can get them legally or
Yeah.
without buying it, like modding another console. Uh, so it's good that they're doing it, even if I don't know how well it's going to sell.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. And then my second February game is Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is a Wii game. Um, and it's $20 cheaper than it is to buy the Wii copy, so that's good for me.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a traditional 2D style, and it's got the 4 players, so like Kirby Star Allies, I really liked playing that multiplayer. Um, but in this one, everyone can be Kirby, which is good because I think that was certainly a point of contention when playing Star Allies. Is why do I have to be this guy? I want to be Kirby.
Yeah.
So we're all Kirby now. Um, yeah, because I haven't played that many Kirby games, but I do. Yeah, I don't mind the 2D, and the multiplayer definitely sells it for me.
Yeah, I don't think I've played a Kirby game since Adventure on the NES.
Oh wow,
It's been a long
many
time, unless you count
Pokemon.
Kirby and Super Smash Brothers. I guess that's about it.
Yeah, well, the amount of characters that I knew just from Smash Bros. Is not from
Yeah.
anything. And not obviously there's like Ness and Roy and stuff. Obviously, those games didn't exist in my region, but yeah, it is
Oh, you
funny.
know what's funny? I did just break out my Kirby. I guess Kirby's Dream Land is like the first one on GameCube, and for a lark, I decided to play that with my son, and so we we got to the first boss, like the tree that drops the apples,
Yeah,
and I laughed because my when we defeated the boss, my son was like, "That was it? That was the boss?" And I'm like, "Yep, that was it." And he was marveled by how easy the boss was. He's like, "You didn't even move. You just stood in the same spot. You
he's a
you sucked up
tree.
you sucked up the apple and spit it at him." And he's like, "What kind of game is this?" And I'm like, yeah,
That's
I go, "This
funny.
is for my child. You shut your mouth."
No, the Kirby series is generally easier,
Yeah.
mostly, and then you unlock your challenge modes and you go with the 600% spicy or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, we had at the end we had the thing that should have made everybody happy, but there was too many RPGs and farming games for some people. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which is the Breath of the Wild sequel, now got a title and a date reveal, which is thankfully May and not December, like I thought, because of the date format.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh,
you know,
right.
because
Yeah.
we do day, month, year, because that in that order, whereas America's it's like month, day, year. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, not December, that's forever.
I
uh,
would hope that we get a little bit longer of a trailer if it was December release.
yeah, or that's in next year because it said
Yeah.
23. Um, and yeah, a lot of people were annoyed that the trailer wasn't that long, and I'm like, well, it's not coming out for like 9 months.
Yeah, I
In
wasn't
the
surprised.
in the video, I don't think I'm publishing. I said, someone can make a baby before this comes out. Like,
Yeah. Well,
they
there'll be a 40-minute long direct
oh yeah, they
only
will.
for Zelda between
Yeah,
here and then. So
yeah. Like, there's plenty of
February, I
time
bet you.
to show stuff. You don't need to
Yeah,
see that much right now. It's fine.
yeah. The
Yeah.
only thing I want to know is if it's Tears of the Kingdom or Tears of the Kingdom.
I don't know how anyone would think it's tears. Like,
Well, just because the kingdom is like broken into pieces and up in the
I
sky.
guess, but it's like, really, people weren't sure about that. Like, um, I don't know.
It'll be interesting if it has a double meaning. We'll have to
It
see, I
could,
guess.
but I think
Yeah.
people saying the Japanese translation, like, obviously that's crying.
Oh yeah, I guess if you looked at that, you'd know better.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, there was a ton of other games in the direct, but they weren't as much interest to us.
No, for various reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. They haven't given up on those cloud games.
No, yeah.
They must be selling them. I
I
don't know
I'm in
which crazy
Australia,
people
so
are buying those
they
games, but
don't work,
oh man.
And if I wanted to play it, I have a PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Well, speaking of PlayStation, they had the unfortunate foresight of choosing the exact same day as the direct, and so the direct went in the morning, Sony went at night, and I'd have to say the state of play looked kind of pitiful when compared to the direct.
Whereas
There
other
was only
people
a
would
couple.
argue the other way because
Oh yeah, I guess I don't know.
um,
I suppose it depends on like what you're into, I guess, because for me, like with the Sony State of Play, it started off with Tekken, which I'm not really into it. So
then
for
he's
the
in
people who
Smash
are,
Bros.
yeah, no, it's just not for me. And then it continued with more stuff not for me with the VR games. Like I mean, they look neat, but I'm just
Yeah, I
not into
didn't
VR.
watch it because it was like at 8 a.m. after the direct was at midnight. So
Oh yeah,
um,
I had actually
I just
forgotten it was even on. So
looked up like a recap, and it was like VR game, VR game. Yeah,
yeah.
the one thing I knew was in it off Twitter. That was the one thing I was interested in, which was the the Yakuza series is now changing to Like a Dragon because that is the Japanese series name.
Hmm.
Like when you translate it, and probably solve some some issues they have with naming the game. Um, but yeah, Like a Dragon Ishin is coming, which never released in the West. So this is like a remaster of I think a PS3 era game
Yeah.
where it was sort of like
Yeah, a remake, I think, actually, right? Like a
yeah,
yeah.
because they're also gonna have like characters from the newer games appear in this
Hmm.
version. Um, and yeah, it's one I've always been interested in, but obviously it never was in English. So, and that
Hmm.
one, oh yeah, it didn't get a release date confirmation then, but it did get confirmed um, at the next day when the studio did their own presentation. So it's coming out February something
Hmm.
20 20 something.
It's in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, February is busy for me. It's got Kirby, it's got Riser, it's got this um Edo period Yakuza game.
Hmm. Well, and it's funny that it wasn't even the only old timey Japanese.
Yes, there was a few other
There was another one from Team Ninja who's I can't even remember the name of the game,
something with
but it was
Ronin in it.
oh yeah, it might have even been Ronin some Ronin something,
Let me have
but
a look.
um,
What is it? I need the everything that was at the. No, that's the RGG Summit. Where's PlayStation?
but I
Rise of
think
the
they were
Ronin.
yeah, and it's being touted as like a massive open world or type game, I guess. Which is fine. Like again, like I
Um,
enjoy those.
I'm not
There's
sure.
certainly a
I
lot of
don't know
them.
what the exact events are, but people saying it's set on a specific historical event because people were able to pick up by the American flag, and one of the characters is obviously based on a person, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure what it is. Yeah,
but I think from the entire direct or state of play, the
I
game that
saw. Sorry, I
oh you go ahead.
was going to say I saw a lot of people posting pictures of Stellar Blade. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. That was
um,
that was neat.
just a
The
certain picture from that game.
oh yeah. The
Yeah,
the only game from that well like a dragon I'm interested in,
yeah.
but the only other game that I really have any real interest in so far anyway is there's a game called Pacific Drive,
Hmm.
where it's basically like you're in a car the entire game, and it's like this open world game where you're driving. I'm pretty sure it's like in Western the US or whatever, and like you're in a car, and I guess the car, like you custom built the car, and then you're driving through, like you're just driving trying to survive, I guess. Like it's kind of in like a post-apocalyptic thing where there's like aliens and zombies and all these wild things, and like the car looks wild. It's like this futuristic looking, like it's funny because like I think it's like an old like 80s station wagon, but like it's kind of like Back to the Future style with all this weird like futury stuff built into it. And it looked pretty neat to me. Like it's so, and you're always driving in the car in first person the entire game, and it just looks pretty wild. Like it's of interest to me, and it's I don't think
Hardcore
they gave
truck
a specific
simulator.
date, but 20 yeah trucks 2023
um,
is all they really
oh
gave, I
goodness.
think so.
Yeah. I think Sinduality is one that's on the maybe, depending on reviews, sort of list.
Yeah,
It's like a girl and her robot.
yeah, that's the mech one, right?
Yeah.
It's like running around in a mech. I saw they were like mining crystals and stuff
Yeah.
while fighting and stuff like that. Yeah, that one looked pretty neat.
Yeah, so plenty of announcements to interest us and plenty more that we didn't even mention.
Yes, too many really.
Like
Yeah,
I said, I already know what I'm picking up in January and February now. So
yeah.
one thing that wasn't, it was in the Xbox presentation for Tokyo Game Show, was One Piece Odyssey has its release date of January 13th.
Oh
So
right, yeah. Always forget about
that
that
is
one.
my January game, along with what else was coming. Then I forgot already. I don't know. Not all the pre-orders are up on the site where I normally just use that to check when I'm when what's coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, two games for January, two games for February. I'm getting booked out already. The year hasn't even started.
Because we talked about we were talking about these games so much, we're kind of running a little short on time of how it actually affects our backlog and that sort of thing. So maybe we'll save that for another episode. I know Casey wanted to join us for this one. I know Casey and I have been going through our backlogs lately, trying to catch up, and these announcements are certainly not helping in any way whatsoever. Just adding into the pile, like I guess a normal year in video games, never catching up. But yeah, is there anything that you want to plug, Paige? I know this will be going out around I guess the public one of this will be around the, I guess it's like the 18th, or I think is the Sunday that it goes out. So anything you're
Um,
allowed to tell us about?
well, I'd say possibly my Harvestella video will be up by then. Whereas I definitely don't think I'll be done with the Voice of Cards review yet.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. So yeah, this will be live on the 18th. So everyone listening, if you want to find out about Harvestella, I know I'll be watching because I haven't. I'm going to be getting the game on Steam, so I don't think I'm going to bother downloading the demo. I'll probably just wait till the game comes out. There's certainly no shortage of things to play, so I'll just wait for that one. But yeah, I'll be watching your video on that one, so everyone can head over to Paige's YouTube channel to check that out. And I know I've got a couple of reviews. I just reviewed what was it? I'm trying to remember what the game was called. Made in Abyss. That's what it is. I was just trying to think of it. I got to play that. Totally not what I thought it was going to be, but still a decent playthrough anyway. If you want to read about a review on that one, and then I just finished a Jack Move, is kind of a traditional JRPG that's come out. I think it's come out for all platforms, and or it is coming out. I can't remember if it's out yet. I know I'm allowed to talk about it, and my review will be out shortly, so it might be out by the time you're listening to this as well. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for this week's episode. And yeah, if there's a we'll get back to that backlog eventually when we have Casey back, maybe next week. We have a AI2 the Somnium File or Nirvana Initiative spoiler cast that we recorded a week or so back that'll be coming out. That'll probably be next week's. And yeah, so we'll have lots of content. We certainly got lots of games coming up the rest of the year, so we'll probably be doing a lot of episodes on games. So look forward to that. Harvestella for sure. I know everyone here is excited for that one. So yeah. But I guess that'll do it for this week. Thanks everyone for listening, and thanks Paige for joining me for this breakdown on the Direct and the Sony State of Play. And we'll see everyone out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye.